Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin tapped over 100k last night before rapidly tumbling back downwards to test a really crucial level of support. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about what caused the recent rally and crash for Bitcoin on the short time frame and what you need to look out for to signal the next leg downwards to 91k or a real bullish break. Before we dive in, guys, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel if you're after even more regular updates. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty, guys, so jumping into the charts, let's talk about the recent price action on Bitcoin. What caused this little rally and breakout in our, 3-day sort of downtrending price action and the eventual loss of that rally and a movement back into support here at $96,000. So last night we had NFP data come out on non-farm payrolls. That was at 11:30 last night for those of us in Australia, and that came out alongside unemployment rate as well as average hourly earnings, the change of that month on month and year on year as well. So non-farm payrolls itself was actually kind of bullish, right? It was lower than forecasted, showing that the US job market is actually a little bit weaker than forecasted, which should technically be positive in terms of seeing future rate cuts, right? However, alongside NFP, that unemployment and our average hourly earnings data was the opposite. So it was a little bit more bearish. We had unemployment rate dropping below forecast by 0.1%. And then we have the average hourly earnings increasing by 0.5% as opposed to the opposed 0.3%. So we have a large proportion more of wage inflation as opposed to what we expected. So that both those bits of data tell us essentially that, again, there is a lower chance of seeing rate cuts in the future or in the close future. And so if we go ahead and take a look at FedWatch, the next FOMC meetings in just under a month and a half, and we can see that the probability of seeing a rate cut here to 4.25% has decreased all the way down to 8.5. The last time I checked was just after the last rate cut meeting, and that was, I think it was sitting at around 20%. So it's a really big drop there, and I think last night was sitting at 15%. So nearly halved the probabilities of seeing a rate cut at the next meeting. So naturally the market then, following that data, sort of had that rally after NFP, and then following unemployment and the hourly sort of month-on-month wage increase, we saw that drop right back down into retest support. So we're going to dive into the charts today and talk about the, consolidation that we're seeing here between these ranges on the short time frame, what to look out for here in the short time frame, and then move into a higher time frame chart and talk about what a real breakout for Bitcoin would actually look like. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So if we break down the short time frame price action, we can essentially boil it down to just being chopping between our current range high resistance on the short time frame and our key level of support. So this kind of price action that we see over here, that is honestly chop. We've only really had 2 full swing movements to retest those ranges, but nevertheless we can see a very clear range of short time frame resistance up the top here at $99,000 to $100,000 and $101,000, and a very clear base of support ranging from 96 to 96.5 thousand. So right now, while Bitcoin kind of continues to chop within this range of consolidation, we're very clearly in quite a neutral range. We don't really have many consequences moving within this range. This has no high time frame consequences. It's a very, very small range. But using this range, we can kind of map out the future short time frame bearish scenarios, and as well as the bullish case scenario. So that's a little bit more complicated because we have a little higher time frame validations that we're looking for as well. But breaking above our short time frame resistance here could very much signal the first leg up to retesting those higher time frame levels of resistance. So let's talk about the breakdown scenario first, right? So our current level of support, as I've mentioned, is $96,000, and we have sell side liquidity for that base of support, as you guys can see here on that red line, at around 95.7 thousand. We can see last night after the crash, we actually deviated below support to retest sell side liquidity, and upon closing above that level, we were able to sustain a short time frame bounce here, right, where we're recovering support. So if we end up seeing a close below this level of support, our sell side liquidity, this equal low, it's very likely then that that is going to signal the next leg downwards for Bitcoin, and we are very likely to see a move to retest the next base of support at 94,000, and then the range low all the way down at $91,000. That is also the range low of our much higher time frame consolidation as well, all the way down here, right, when we enter the base of our support zone. Now, if we pull up the RSI and take a look at momentum, as Bitcoin has created this second equal low at 95.7, we can see a small instance of bullish divergence here, right? So we have higher lows on the momentum oscillator here, but lower lows, very slightly lower lows on the price action. And that does tell us that we do have a high probability of seeing a bounce here, and Bitcoin is very likely to I guess re-enter the channel. The buyers are successfully defending that base of support, and now that is a good sign, right? And that prevents us from entering that short time frame bearish narrative. However, let's talk about what we need to see to signal that Bitcoin has become short time frame bullish, and also what would then lead to a high time frame bullish continuation here. So as we re-enter the channel, we do have a couple little levels of dynamic resistance at the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, but following that, we can then expect a range high resistance here, a tap of 90, or sorry, I keep saying 90, it's $100,000 resistance. And if we manage to break above that and the buy side liquidity at the end of that resistance here at 100.9, we can then expect a bullish continuation on the short time frame to retest the range high of this sort of short time frame downtrend that we were traveling in for the last couple of days, right? Now, the range high is also where we begin to have confluence with a couple levels of really high time frame resistance as well, namely our 12-hour downtrend. So if we zoom into the 12-hour chart, zoom out into the 12-hour chart, we can see that downtrend created over here, right? And as we approach that sort of, level of resistance here, is also become very, very close to re-tapping that downtrend for the first time in quite a while, and maybe a week's period that we would actually be tapping and retesting at that level of resistance. And on the 12-hour chart, what would indicate a strong potential for a breakout above that 12-hour trend line is going to be the RSI breakout over here, right? On the 12-hour charts, if we manage to close RSI above our trend line, the corresponding trend line, and momentum, very likely to have shifted that, narrative, the momentum narrative at the very least. Buyers are stepping in more than before to actively defend these higher levels of support and push Bitcoin back up and out of this downtrend. Now, this brings us into the high time frame analysis for Bitcoin and what's actually going to signal a high time frame bullish break here, and higher time frame bullish continuation. So obviously on the 12-hour chart, we have our structural downtrend, which we've already talked about, and the first leg upwards is going to be a move towards and a break of that structural downtrend alongside its horizontal confluence at 102.5 thousand. Now, following that break, what we need to see Bitcoin do is then flip these levels here at $100,000 to $102,000 as a base of support. So let's say we see the break and we move up to retest this next level of resistance at the prior high here from 104.6 to 106,000, and we see a correction. In that correction, we want to see Bitcoin sustain above these prior levels of resistance to facilitate another bullish continuation and another, higher retest, right? So whether or not that takes us to this equal high here at 107 or $110,000, we want to see that continued laddering upwards, forming continuous higher lows on the price action and continuous higher highs as well. That is what's going to shift the narrative into being distinctly bullish on the high time frame, as well as maintaining that narrative despite potential short time frame corrections. And that's essentially what Bitcoin has kind of been failing to do in this entire period. Despite these short time frame rallies, we're still creating lower highs over here. And, only very recently have we sort of started to establish these higher time frame, higher lows as well. Now, if we move over onto the daily chart, we can see that what Bitcoin would also do in breaking out of those levels is break out of our daily chart channel over here, right? The level of resistance at $100,000 that we need to flip, as we've done in the past, to signal an actual continued bullish move to retest these range high resistances at $105,000 and at $110,000, right? So we need to flip that level as support. Once again, providing confluence or higher time frame confluence for the analysis that we can see on the 12-hour charts. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.